Well, Illinois lawmakers are renewing their calls now to pass legislation increasing penalties for people who hurt workers at two state agencies.
A Sangamon County jury found Benjamin Reed guilty today for the 2022 fatal stabbing of a DCFS social worker. Illinois Capitol Bureau Chief Max Cotton explains this legislation.
If you harm a DCFS worker or a Department of Aging worker, you should be penalized for that crime at the same level as if you were to commit that same crime against a police officer, a teacher, a fireman. It should be the same. It is no different.
That's the crux of Illinois House Minority Leader Tony McCombie's argument. The state should treat DCFS and Department on Aging workers like fellow first responders.
It's not about protecting DCFS workers or Department of Aging workers. It's about respecting them.
Here's what the bills would do. Make harming a DCFS worker or a Department on Aging Adult Protective Services worker a Class 2 felony. It's currently a Class 3 felony. If the assault causes great bodily harm or permanent disability or disfigurement, then it would be a Class 1 felony.
This is a bill that we thought would have been a simple cleanup bill, an oversight, which we see a lot in Springfield, for first responders to be treated the same across the board.
McCombie says she's been working on these bills for 7 years, spurred by the death of another DCFS worker, Pamela Knight. She says Silas's death reminds us why it's important lawmakers finally pass her bills.
These are folks that go out and work with our most vulnerable children and senior citizens to investigate their care and make sure that they are okay.
However, despite having bipartisan support, the bills have not received a hearing during the current General Assembly. In Springfield, Max Cotton, WGEM News.